In a sea of crap movies that push a bunch of nonsense with agendas and propaganda,
brainwashing, completely f***ing bullshit,
Uwe Boll decided to say f*** it and make an unhinged movie about what so many people know is true. Citizen Vigilante has got to be this year's most bold masterpiece from Uwe Boll, and I don't say that lightly, cause you gotta have some serious nuts to make a film tackling real world issues, because Hollywood would never touch this idea ever, and this is why indie films are more important than ever before. Germany also sees this film as a problem for banning it, when in actual fact, why do they not want their people to see it if they're so progressive? Makes you wonder, right? After watching this movie, it makes sense why they called this The Dark Knight, and WB came after Uwe Boll for that shit. And it makes sense. But on this channel, you know WB is straight garbage!
pussies, nothing else.
Uwe Boll doesn't have the best reputation for films because they're mostly shit, you know? But this shit was actually fairly good and made me think about it long after watching it. Sanders, played by Armie Hammer, whose acting career was destroyed over some nonsense that Hollywood should be used to by now because Hollywood is filled with sickos even to this day. He wasn't charged with anything, and it was just a bunch of allegations and essentially some weird ass DMs and shit. So Armie Hammer decided since the system f***ed him good, he'd make a film with Uwe Boll exposing how shit the system is.
See what happened?
Because after all those allegations, he was absolutely cooked! The story follows him as a vigilante icon on social media for bringing justice back to a system that refuses to do anything about sexual violence or giving them white folks the bye-bye turn it offs from immigrants. When the system is corrupt, Bruce Wayne boy here has to become judge, jury, and executioner, giving people exactly what they deserve. All while getting chased by Hoffman from Saw, who plays an Interpol agent dude trying to track down this vigilante. And the way things are going these days, this almost seems extremely realistic because the government truly hates us all, and if you side with the government, you are truly against the people. Now, politics aside, it's honestly a film that's no different from Batman really, besides the fact that this dude offs people in a pretty satisfying way. And definitely shocking in a lot of damn ways. And I gotta give it to Uwe Boll for having the nuts to pull this off with some outlier misfits, and they're making some noise outside of Hollywoodland, tackling issues the woke mob doesn't want to talk about, because they only view it as racist, when in actual fact it has nothing to do with racism at all. And I bet the wokey lefties are just punching the damn air thinking this film is absolutely terrible. Where if it was the complete opposite, it would be glorified and be gaining an Oscar like one crap after another. Cause damn, that movie is complete trash!
Is that a he or a she or a they?
All right. It's not that hard. They, them.
My name is Jungle Pussy.
Bitch! Armie Hammer is pretty solid in this film, and obviously he's more cold and Terminator-like, who doesn't give two f***s about anything but justice, it seems. The guy who plays Hoffman from Saw is awesome. I always enjoyed his acting. Dude is definitely underrated for sure. I don't know, there's something about that guy, he just nails everything. And I can't really deny for what almost seems like a Tubi movie at times, it kept you well engaged throughout. And honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised, because let's face it, Uwe Boll doesn't have the greatest track record of films.
I hate video games.
And I'd honestly say Rampage is definitely one of his best films. Dude just loves going unhinged! The film starts out with some crackers and boom, that chocolate cake gave her the bye-bye turn it off. And damn, did that shit ever feel real. And at least he had a few folks talk about these issues about the immigrants, because so many people would rather stay ignorant to these problems from immigrants who only seem to stir shit up. And there's a part where these troubling kids don't pay for a bus fare and he literally tells them to be civil, only to find out later they're still acting like pieces of shit, and he tases their ass and breaks their hands. And he gave them an opportunity to not be a bunch of pricks. He maybe should have just kicked them right in the nutsack. The fact that Bruce Wayne goes to see victims of crimes and asking if their perpetrators receive justice or not was pretty unique, because most cases these criminals are let go or freed because they're immigrants and the system doesn't care if these people commit crimes again. So Bruce Wayne here has to deal with these folks by making judges go bye-bye to the afterlife in what seems to be suicides. Judges are also big-time criminals, so I'm glad Uwe Boll touched on that shit. Then probably the most savage part of this movie, where these immigrants sexually assaulted this poor girl in a gang, and the fact that Brownie's sister said the girl deserved it was absolutely wild. For wearing less clothes or some shit, as if she had it coming, and I thought, ain't no goddamn way, that's crazy. And nobody deserves that sick shit. I don't know what the hell people are smoking. If lefties agree with this shit, you are cooked! Bruce Wayne goes full savage mode and pops this kid in the knee and gets him to call all his friends who were let go for doing that sick shit. And then he goes full unhinged and gives the family the bye-bye, turn it off, and all his friends who are a part of it. And I was almost shocked he did that, but then again, they all deserved it. And no were truly given in this film. It was straight savagery. But again, justice was served. Nobody raised with good parents would do any of that shit. So he was right to take out the entire family. And I can't even blame the dude, honestly. This shit was just shockingly wild. Now, to get into some negatives to this film, it definitely has some shoddy camera work that's not overly amazing, with some decently good shots mixed in. Maybe Uwe Boll was going for more the realistic approach, because that's definitely what this shit came across as. Very realistic in the world today. There could have been some more polishing in the editing for sure, because it did even drag just a little bit for a 90-minute film, as some scenes and shots were kind of meaningless, but then again, it's Uwe Boll. The story itself is not told in a linear fashion, not exactly like a terrible thing, but I did find his editing a little bit disjointed. Again, it's more so the things that are happening for the ending throughout the entire film, and him taking out a whole dummy SWAT team who stand there and get shot. Obviously it's unrealistic, but more or less funny at times. And of course, they open the hatch and get blown up. It's wild for sure, but definitely reckless from the SWAT team. It was just honestly funny here and there, because I know Uwe Boll seems like a kind of like a funny dude in a way. Just some of his interviews are just hilarious, so I don't really blame the dude. He's always got some level of like campiness to his films, and they're just like funny and shit. So you kind of have to just take it as it's Uwe Boll.
Basically, my message is yourself.
It's crazy to say the cops would rather try to find this vigilante than actually doing their jobs and locking people up forever who deserve it. Or, you know, bring back some executions for these types of crimes and shit, because, you know, some people kind of deserve the bye-bye turn it offs, right? I can't be completely wrong here. And there were obviously some dumb things in this movie with the hooker, because Bruce Wayne needed to unload and he sees black mold and wonders what is going on in his own building in the middle of banging this chick. And you're still thinking, yeah, Uwe Boll just wanted to have some titties in here, so he wasn't gonna cut that shit obviously like Uwe Boll is. So I'm not entirely surprised he wanted some titties in here. It was honestly just really funny and baffling. You're just banging this chick and he's like, oh, there's black mold on the wall. It's like, oh, I own this building too. And she's like, hell yeah. And he just gave her his special sauce. As Bruce Wayne takes his judge to his death, he goes to the other side of the road to prove that people are sheep and obey the rules. And honestly, I do agree. Homie could have just went to the other side of the road or something, but in a way, he kind of just killed somebody to prove a point with the dumbest explosion that made me laugh. I don't know what the hell this was, but I just busted out and laughed because that shit was hilarious. And I don't know why he chose to do that, but okay, sure, whatever. It was just kind of just so dumb, but funny at the same time. Homie should just lean into doing more comedy. I don't know if he's like intentionally trying to make things bad or something, but
So f***ing absurd.
and at that point he could just made it so that it was someone he had to take out or something, but since it's Uwe Boll, it makes Uwe Boll sense, I guess. The part where these dudes drug these chicks drinks was okay, and I do really get it, but I kind of wish the story was more or less streamlined a little more, because these ideas are there. You could have told a little more than a few dudes drugging some chicks, even though I think it's very wrong. And if only this was just more of a build up from, you know, immigrants to criminals, then the people part of the system, and then politicians, or even corrupt corporations and shit. I think that stuff would have made this film a little more cohesive in that way. But then again, it's Uwe Boll, so I'm not entirely shocked.
Because they're all stupid.
And I'm pretty sure he'll probably pop up more movies here because, you know, it's Uwe Boll, and Uwe Boll will never be stopped ever.
Yourself.
And I'm glad he's touching on subjects no one else really wants to tackle. Kind of reminds me of Sound of Freedom, and a lot of people shat on that movie because I don't know exactly why. Showing the truth is somehow a terrible thing nowadays. It's kind of weird. If you didn't like the movie, I could see that, but you shouldn't dislike the message of the movie because that shit is sick as fuck. So, and it's the same thing with this movie. There's a lot of truth in this movie, and yeah, the government and the system hates you! Overall, this movie deserves a 7 out of 10, but also deserves the masterpiece title at the same time for having the balls to be absolutely unhinged and showcase the real truth that the governments and the system itself refuses to shed light on. And they wonder why everyone will eventually become right-wing, right? And it just, you know, it makes sense because we've gone way too far left and it needs to be corrected badly. And certain issues can't be ignored any longer, and I'm glad Uwe Boll showed the other side instead of making crap films like one crap after another, showcasing the other side of the argument where letting all these illegal immigrants free is a good idea or some shit, when it's truly not. So those folks get that bye-bye, turn it off!
Basically my message is f*** yourself.